My daughter's husband looked me dead in the eyes on my 68th birthday and said the words that would change everything. "You are not family. You don't belong here anymore." The room went silent. 23 people, my daughter Shanice, her 3 children, my church friends, neighbors, everyone I loved, all frozen like someone hit pause on life itself. The birthday cake sat in front of me with its flickering candles, the words, "Happy Birthday, Grandma Evelyn," written in purple frosting. Gospel music still played softly from the speakers. The smell of my favorite peach cobbler filled the air. But none of that mattered anymore. Cordell Wallace stood there in his expensive suit, the one Shanice bought him with money I later learned came from my savings account, and he pointed at the door of my own house. "We're selling this place. You got 30 days to get out and take your old furniture with you." I opened my mouth, but Shanice spoke first. "Mama, Cordell's right. You're becoming a burden. We can't keep taking care of you." Taking care of me? I was the one who'd been paying their mortgage for 2 years. I was the one who fed their children when they went on their fancy vacations. I was the one who held this family together after my husband Bernard passed. My best friend Gloria started to stand up, her face twisted with anger, but I touched her arm. "Not yet. Let them show everyone who they really are." "This is my house," I said quietly. "The house Bernard and I bought 42 years ago." Cordell laughed. Actually laughed. "Not anymore, old woman. Shanice is on the deed now, remember? You signed it over last year when you were sick." He made air quotes with his fingers. "Your memory must be going. That's what happens when you get old and useless." My granddaughter Amara, only 13 years old, started crying. Her little brother Isaiah grabbed my hand. "Grandma, don't let him talk to you like that." "Boy, go sit down," Cordell snapped at Isaiah. "This is grown folks' business." That's when I felt it. That familiar fire in my chest that Bernard used to call my righteous fury. The same fire that got me through segregation, through raising 2 children on a nursing assistant's salary, through burying my husband and still showing up to work the next week because bills don't pay themselves. I stood up slowly. My knees ached like they always did, but I stood tall. "Shanice, baby, is this really what you want? On my birthday? In front of your children?" My daughter wouldn't look at me. She studied her perfectly manicured nails instead. "Mama, it's time for you to be realistic. Cordell and I need this house. We got plans, big plans, and you're in the way." "Plans I paid for," I said. "Plans built on my money, my sacrifices, Your money?" Cordell stepped closer, towering over me. "You worked as a nurse's assistant for 40 years. What money? You barely got 2 nickels to rub together. Everything you got, Shanice gave you out of the kindness of her heart." The lies rolled off his tongue so smooth I almost admired the skill. Almost. Gloria couldn't stay quiet anymore. "Cordell Wallace, you got some nerve?" "Stay out of this, Gloria," Shanice snapped. "This is family business." "I am family," Gloria shot back. "I've known your mama since before you were born. I was there when she..." "When she what?" Cordell's voice got louder. "When she used to be somebody? Those days are over. Look at her. She can barely walk up the stairs. She forgets things. Last week she called me Bernard." That was a lie. I never called him Bernard. I could never confuse my deceased husband's gentle spirit with this snake in expensive clothes. "Cordell, please," I said, my voice steady despite the storm building inside me. "Don't do this. Not in front of the children." "The children need to learn how the world works," he said. "The weak get left behind. The strong survive. And you, Evelyn Johnson, are weak. Always have been." Pastor Williams from Second Baptist stood up then, his large frame commanding attention. "Brother Cordell, Sister Shanice, I think we should all calm down and—" "No disrespect, Pastor, but this ain't church business," Cordell interrupted. "This is family business. And I'm telling y'all right now, right here." He turned to address everyone in the room. "Evelyn Johnson is no longer welcome in this family. She's not my mother-in-law. She's not Shanice's mother. She's just some old woman who needs to find somewhere else to live." Amara burst into fresh tears. Isaiah looked like he wanted to hit Cordell. My other grandson, 6-year-old Zion, didn't understand what was happening, but he knew it was bad. "Everybody needs to leave," Cordell announced. "Party's over, and Evelyn, you got until the end of the month. After that, I'm calling the police and having you removed as a trespasser." Before we continue, please tell us where you're watching from so we know how far our stories reach, and subscribe to the channel to help us grow. People started gathering their things in shocked silence. Gloria held my hand so tight I thought she might break my fingers. Pastor Williams looked like he wanted to say something more, but what could he say? This was my daughter and her husband destroying me in front of God and everyone. As folks filed out, giving me hugs and whispered promises to call me later, I stood there looking at my birthday cake, 68 years old today. And this is what I got. When the house finally cleared, it was just me, Shanice, Cordell, and the children. "Pack your things," Cordell said casually, like he was discussing the weather. "We already got a buyer lined up. Closing in 3 weeks." "How long have you been planning this?" I asked Shanice. She finally looked at me, and what I saw in her eyes broke my heart into pieces. Nothing. No love, no guilt, no shame, just cold calculation. 6 months, she admitted. Ever since we realized how much this house is worth. Property values in this neighborhood done gone up like crazy. We can clear $300,000 easy, maybe more. "And me?" I whispered. "What about me?" "We found you a nice senior home," she said. "State funded. They got activities and everything. You'll make new friends." "You're putting me in a nursing home." "An assisted living facility," Cordell corrected. "It's for your own good. You're getting forgetful. You need supervision." Another lie. My mind was sharp as ever. But I could see the game now, clear as day. They'd been setting this up for months, maybe longer. Telling people I was declining, planting seeds, getting ready to take everything. "What about the children?" I asked, looking at Amara, Isaiah, and little Zion. "Who's going to take care of them after school? Who's going to help with homework? Who's going to make sure they eat real food?" "We got it handled," Shanice said. "Besides, they're getting too old to need a babysitter anyway." "I'm not a babysitter," I said, my voice cracking for the first time. "I'm their grandmother." "No," Cordell said, stepping between me and the children. "You was their grandmother. But that ends now. Kids, say goodbye to Miss Evelyn. Miss Evelyn, not Grandma, not Nana. Miss Evelyn." Amara ran to me, sobbing. "Grandma, don't go. Please don't go." Cordell pulled her back roughly. "Girl, what'd I tell you about being dramatic?" "Don't touch her like that," I said, my voice sharp. "Or what?" Cordell got in my face. "What you gonna do, old woman? You can't do nothing. You got no power here, no money, no options. You're finished." I looked at my daughter one more time. "Shanice, baby, please. Don't let him do this. I'm your mother. I changed your diapers. I walked you to school every day. I worked double shifts to buy you that prom dress you wanted. And I appreciate all that, Mama," Shanice said, her voice flat. "But that was then. This is now. And right now we need this house more than you do. You understand business, right? It's just business." Just business. My whole life reduced to a transaction. "You got 3 weeks," Cordell repeated. "Use them wisely." They left then, taking the children with them despite Amara's protests. I heard her crying all the way to the car. Heard Isaiah saying, "This ain't right, Dad." Heard Cordell telling them both to shut up and get in the car. When the house went quiet, I sat back down at the table. The candles on my cake had melted down to nubs. The ice cream had gotten soft. The presents sat unopened. I should have cried. I should have broken down. But instead I started laughing. Not a happy laugh. A knowing laugh. Because what Cordell and Shanice didn't know, what they couldn't possibly know, was that I'd been preparing for this moment for 6 months. Ever since I overheard a phone conversation between Shanice and someone I didn't recognize, talking about the plan and getting rid of Mama and once we have the house. What they didn't know was that I wasn't just some old woman who worked as a nurse's assistant for 40 years. What they didn't know was that I'd made some very interesting friends in very interesting places during those 40 years. What they didn't know was that the house they thought they were stealing wasn't actually mine anymore. And what they definitely didn't know was that I'd been recording everything for the past 6 months. Every conversation, every lie, every moment of them poisoning my grandchildren against me. I pulled out my phone, not the old flip phone Shanice thought I used, but my smartphone that Gloria taught me how to use, and I sent 3 text messages. The first went to my lawyer, attorney Michelle Reeves, one of the best civil rights lawyers in the state, a woman I'd helped save her mother's life in the hospital 30 years ago. The second went to Detective Raymond Cooper, who I'd babysat when he was just a boy, whose mama was my best friend before she passed. The third went to my accountant, Joseph Chen. Wait, no, not Chen. That's one of the overused names. Joseph Winters, a man who'd helped me invest my money wisely after Bernard died. 3 simple messages, each one just 3 words. It's time now. My phone buzzed immediately with 3 responses, all saying the same thing. We're ready. I cut myself a piece of birthday cake and ate it slowly, savoring every bite. Peach cobbler cake, my favorite. Bernard's recipe. Baby, I said to the empty room, talking to my husband like I sometimes did. You always said the Lord works in mysterious ways. I'm about to find out just how mysterious. Tomorrow morning, Cordell and Shanice would wake up to a world they didn't recognize. A world where I wasn't weak. A world where I wasn't powerless. A world where the truth they'd been hiding would come crashing down on their heads like a ton of bricks. But tonight, I was going to finish my birthday cake, call Gloria, and get a good night's sleep. Because tomorrow, the real party was going to start. And Cordell Wallace had no idea what he'd just started. I woke up at 5:30 the next morning, same as I'd done for 47 years. Old habits die hard. The house felt different, though. Quieter, like it was holding its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. I made myself a proper breakfast: eggs, turkey sausage, grits, and toast. Bernard used to say never face a battle on an empty stomach. I sat at the kitchen table, the same table where we'd shared thousands of meals, where I'd helped Shanice with her homework, where I'd taught my grandchildren how to say grace. At exactly 7 o'clock, my doorbell rang. Through the peephole, I saw attorney Michelle Reeves standing on my porch, looking sharp in a navy blue suit, her locks pulled back in a professional bun. Behind her stood Detective Raymond Cooper in plain clothes, and Joseph Winters carrying a briefcase. I opened the door and Michelle hugged me tight. Miss Evelyn, I'm so sorry about yesterday. Don't be sorry yet, I said, letting them all in. We got work to do. We sat in my living room, and Michelle pulled out a folder thick with documents. I reviewed everything you gave me over the past 6 months. The recordings, the financial records, the forged signatures. Miss Evelyn, what they did to you is criminal. Tell me something I don't know, I said. Joseph opened his briefcase. The good news is, we moved fast enough. Remember when you signed over the house deed to Shanice last year? When I was supposedly sick and confused, I said, shaking my head. I was sick, all right. Sick from the sleeping pills Cordell had been slipping in my tea. Took me 2 weeks to realize what he was doing. Raymond's jaw clenched. That's assault. Poisoning. We can charge him. We will, Michelle said. But first, let's talk about what they don't know. She turned to Joseph. Tell her. Joseph smiled, and it reminded me of the little boy I used to see playing in the yard next door 30 years ago. Miss Evelyn, you remember when we met 5 years ago? After Mr. Bernard passed? You helped me understand his life insurance policy and his investments. Right. And you remember when you told me you wanted to protect your assets in case your daughter ever tried something like this? I nodded. I'd had a feeling even back then. Shanice had changed after she married Cordell, started looking at me different, asking questions about money, about what I had, about what would happen to everything when I died. Well, Joseph continued, we set up a trust. Everything you own, this house, your savings, your investments, all of it, got transferred into the Evelyn Marie Johnson Irrevocable Trust. You're the beneficiary. Your grandchildren are the secondary beneficiaries. But the house deed, I started, is worthless, Michelle finished. The house Shanice thinks she owns, legally, she doesn't own anything. When you signed it over to her last year while under duress, you didn't actually have the legal authority to do so. The house belonged to the trust, not to you personally. The trust owns it. And guess who the trustee is? I smiled. You are. Exactly. Which means Shanice can't sell it, can't mortgage it, can't do anything with it, and any buyer they think they have lined up, that sale isn't going through. But won't they just find out when they try to close? Raymond interjected. Yes. In fact, they're probably finding out right about now. As if on cue, my phone rang. Shanice. Don't answer, Michelle advised. Let them sweat. The phone rang 4 more times over the next hour while we went through the plan. Each time, I let it go to voicemail. Each time, I could picture Cordell getting more and more angry. Michelle laid out photos on the coffee table. These are screenshots from the recordings you made. Cordell admitting to drugging you. Shanice talking about forging your signature on documents. Both of them discussing how to isolate you from your friends and make you seem incompetent. There's more, Raymond added. He pulled out his own folder. I did some digging into Cordell's background. This isn't his first time running this scam. What? Before Shanice, he was married to a woman in Memphis. Elderly mother-in-law, same situation. Tried to take her house, her money, everything. But the old woman had a sharp nephew who was a lawyer. They caught Cordell, but the mother-in-law didn't press charges, just wanted him gone. My stomach turned. So Shanice isn't his first victim. No, ma'am. And get this. His real name isn't even Cordell Wallace. It's Cordell Watkins. He's got warrants in Tennessee for fraud and identity theft. I sat back in my chair, trying to process it all. My daughter had married a con man, a professional predator who targeted elderly people through their own children. Does Shanice know? I asked quietly. Raymond and Michelle exchanged looks. We're not sure, Raymond said. She might be a victim too. Or she might be a willing partner. The recordings suggest she knew more than she let on. My phone rang again. This time it was a number I didn't recognize. Answer it, Michelle said. Put it on speaker. I did. Miss Johnson? An unfamiliar male voice. This is Richard Pemberton from Reliable Property Services. I'm calling about the house at 847 Magnolia Street. We had a contract to purchase from Shanice Wallace, but there seems to be some confusion about the deed. Can you clarify? I can clarify, Michelle said, taking the phone. This is Attorney Michelle Reeves representing Miss Johnson. Your contract is void. The seller doesn't own the property and never did. Any money you've given them is between you and them. This property is not for sale. Do not contact Miss Johnson again. She hung up. That felt good, I admitted. It's about to feel even better, Raymond said. He checked his watch. Right about now, Cordell should be getting a visit from some of my colleagues. You're arresting him? For the Tennessee warrants, yes. We'll add the local charges, elder abuse, fraud, assault, after we build the case. But we've got enough to hold him for now. My phone started blowing up. Shanice calling over and over, text messages flooding in. Mama, what did you do? They arrested Cordell. Call me right now. This is all your fault. How could you? I turned the phone face down. She'll come here, I said. Soon as she realizes I'm not answering. Good, Michelle said. Let her come. We'll be ready. We didn't have to wait long. 20 minutes later, I heard tires screeching outside, a car door slamming, footsteps running up my walkway. Shanice didn't knock. She still had her key. She burst through the door like a tornado, her face twisted with rage. "What did you do?" she screamed. "They arrested Cordell. They said he's wanted in Tennessee. They said—" She stopped when she saw Michelle, Raymond, and Joseph sitting in my living room. "What is this?" Shanice's eyes darted between all of us. "Mama, what's going on?" "Sit down, Shanice," I said calmly. "I don't want to sit down. I want to know why you had my husband arrested." "I didn't have him arrested," I said. "The state of Tennessee had him arrested for crimes he committed before he ever met you. But while we're here, let's talk about the crimes he committed after he met you." Michelle stood up, and suddenly she wasn't my friend anymore. She was a lawyer, a warrior. "Miss Wallace, I'm attorney Michelle Reeves. I represent your mother in a civil case against you and Cordell Watkins. Yes, Watkins, not Wallace. For elder abuse, fraud, and theft." Shanice's face went pale. "I don't know what she told you, but—" "We have recordings," Raymond said, standing up too. He was taller than I remembered, more imposing. 6 months' worth. Your voice, his voice, planning to steal this house, talking about drugging your mother, forging documents. All of it. That's not... Shanice looked at me, her eyes wide. "Mama, you recorded us?" "I protected myself," I said, "after I figured out what you were doing." "We weren't doing anything. We were trying to help you. You're getting old. I need my daughter to love me," I said, my voice breaking for the first time. "I need my daughter to remember who raised her, who sacrificed everything for her, who worked doubles and triples so she could have dance lessons and nice clothes and money for college. But instead, I got a stranger who looked at me and saw a dollar sign." Shanice's face crumpled. For a second, I saw my little girl again. The one who used to climb in my lap when she had bad dreams. The one who made me Mother's Day cards with crayon drawings. The one who promised she'd always take care of me when I got old. "Mama, I'm sorry," she whispered. "I didn't... Cordell said it would be easy. He said you'd be better off in a facility. He said—" "He lied," Raymond interrupted. "About everything. He's a con artist, Miss Wallace. He targeted you to get to your mother. This is what he does." Shanice sank onto the couch, her hands shaking. No, he loves me. We're building a life together. We have plans. You have 3 children, I said. Children who watched you disown their grandmother yesterday. Children who cried themselves to sleep because you chose money over family. What kind of life is that? "The buyer already called," Michelle added, asking about the deed problems. "How much money did Cordell tell you this house was worth? 300,000? How much did you already spend of that money that doesn't exist?" Shanice's face answered the question. "Oh, baby," I said softly. "What did y'all do?" "We bought a new house," she admitted. "In the suburbs. Cordell said we could flip this one for a huge profit and use the money to furnish the new place. We already put down 50,000. "Money you got from where?" Joseph asked. Shanice looked at me. "Mama's savings account. The one at First National. Cordell said since you signed over power of attorney." "I never signed over power of attorney," I said. "That's another forgery." The room went silent. Shanice stared at me like she was seeing me for the first time. "Mama, how much did we take?" $87,000, Joseph said. "From accounts that took Miss Evelyn 40 years to build." Shanice started crying then. Real tears, not the fake ones from yesterday. Oh God, what did I do? Mama, I'm so sorry, I didn't know. Cordell said you agreed. He said you wanted to help us. He said..." He lied, I repeated. And you believed him, over me, your own mother. My daughter slid off the couch onto her knees in front of me. Please, Mama, please forgive me. I'll fix this. I'll make it right. You'll face the consequences, Michelle said firmly. Miss Johnson, it's your decision. Do we press charges against your daughter, or just Cordell? All eyes turned to me. This was it. The moment I'd been preparing for. The moment where I could destroy my daughter's life the way she tried to destroy mine. I looked at Shanice, really looked at her. I saw the desperation, the fear, the regret. But I also saw the woman who told her own children that their grandmother wasn't family anymore. I need time to think, I said finally. Shanice, go home. Go take care of your children. Don't contact me. Don't call me. Don't come by. When I'm ready to talk, I'll let you know. Mama, please. Go! My voice came out harder than I intended. Before I change my mind about letting you walk out of here. Shanice stumbled to her feet and ran out, sobbing. When the door closed, I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. You okay, Miss Evelyn? Raymond asked gently. No, I admitted. But I will be. Michelle squeezed my hand. The grandchildren. We should talk about them. What about them? Well, with Cordell arrested and Shanice facing potential charges, CPS might get involved. The children could end up in the system unless they have family willing to take them, I finished. You're asking if I want custody. I'm asking if you're prepared for that possibility. I thought about Amara's tears, Isaiah's anger, little Zion's confusion. I thought about them growing up in foster care, separated, traumatized. Yes, I said. If it comes to that, yes. Those babies are innocent in all this. Then we need to move fast, Michelle said, because in about, she checked her watch, 2 hours, Cordell's arraignment is going to start. And when the judge hears what he did, when the media picks up this story. She trailed off, but I understood. This was about to become very public, very messy, very ugly. There's something else, Raymond said carefully. When we searched Cordell, we found documents, plans. He wasn't just targeting you, Miss Evelyn. He has files on other elderly black women in the area, at least 4 of them, all with children around Shanice's age, all with property. My blood ran cold. He's doing this to other people? Planning to, but now that we have his files, we can warn them, stop him before he ruins more families. I stood up and walked to my window, looking out at my garden. Bernard and I planted those roses together 30 years ago. We built this life brick by brick, paycheck by paycheck, sacrifice by sacrifice. And some predator thought he could just take it all. We're not just stopping him, I said, turning back to face them. We're destroying him. Every charge, every crime, everything. I want him to pay for what he did to me, to my daughter, and to every family he ever thought about targeting. Michelle smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. It was the smile of a woman who'd just been given permission to go to war. Miss Evelyn, before we're done, Cordell Watkins is going to wish he never heard your name. My phone buzzed. A text from a number I didn't recognize. This is Amara, using my friend's phone. Grandma, are you okay? Mom came home crying. Dad's in jail. I'm scared. Please help us. I showed the message to Michelle. This is complicated, she said. If you respond, it could affect the case. I don't care about the case, I said. That's my grandbaby, and she's scared. I typed back, Baby girl, Grandma's okay. I love you. Everything's going to be all right. Be strong for your brothers. I'll see you soon. 3 dots appeared. Then, I love you too, Grandma. I'm sorry about what Dad said. You are family. You'll always be family. I had to sit down. My hands were shaking. Miss Evelyn? Joseph looked concerned. I'm okay. Those children. They didn't ask for any of this. No, Michelle agreed. But they're going to get through it. Because they have you. And you, Miss Evelyn Johnson, are a lot stronger than anyone gave you credit for. Raymond's phone rang. He answered, listened, then looked at me with an expression I couldn't read. What? I asked. What now? That was my captain. The media's already picked up the story. Something about a local con man arrested for targeting elderly black women. It's going to be on the evening news. Good, I said. Let everybody know. Let them see what happens when you underestimate an old woman who's been fighting her whole life. But even as I said it, I felt a chill run down my spine. Because if this was going on the news, that meant Cordell would know I was behind it. And men like him, desperate men with nothing to lose, were dangerous. Raymond, I said slowly, do you think Cordell could make bail? The look on his face told me everything I needed to know. We need to get you somewhere safe, he said. At least until the arraignment. If he gets out. My front window exploded. Glass rained down as a brick crashed through, landing in the middle of my living room floor. Attached to it was a note written in angry red letters. You're dead, you old witch! Should have let me have what I wanted! We all stared at it for a frozen moment. Then Raymond was on his phone calling for backup. Michelle was pulling me away from the windows, and Joseph was taking photos for evidence. And me? I was looking at that brick, that threatening note, and thinking one thing. Cordell Wallace, or Watkins, or whatever his real name was, had just made the biggest mistake of his life. Because before, I just wanted justice. Now, I wanted war. The police arrived within minutes. Raymond had already called it in before the brick even finished rolling across my floor. 6 squad cars, lights flashing, surrounding my house like it was a crime scene. Which, I suppose, it was. Miss Evelyn, we need to get you out of here, Raymond said, guiding me toward the back door. He knows where you live, and if he made bail. He didn't, another detective said, jogging up my back steps. Just got confirmation. Judge denied bail based on the out-of-state warrants. He's locked up. Then who threw the brick? Michelle demanded. We all looked at each other, the same realization hitting us at once. Shanice, I whispered. Raymond was already on his radio. All units, be advised. Suspect may be Shanice Wallace, black female, late 30s, driving a... He looked at me. Silver Honda Accord, I said quietly. My daughter, my own daughter, just threw a brick through my window with a death threat attached. Or did she? Wait, I said. That's not Shanice's handwriting, and she wouldn't call me a witch. That's not her word. Michelle picked up the note with a pen, careful not to contaminate evidence. You're right. This handwriting is masculine, heavy-handed, angry. So if Cordell's locked up, Joseph started. He has an accomplice, Raymond finished. Someone on the outside doing his dirty work. My phone rang. Amara again, but from a different number. Grandma! Her voice was panicked, crying. Grandma, some man just came to our house. He was banging on the door yelling about Uncle Cordell. Mom won't open the door, but he won't leave. He says we got his money. Where are you right now, baby? In my closet with Isaiah and Zion. Mom's downstairs. She called 911, but... I heard crashing in the background. Shanice screaming. Then the line went dead. Go! I shouted at Raymond. That's my daughter's address, 2451 Oak Grove Terrace. My grandchildren are there. Raymond and 3 other officers peeled out of my driveway, sirens wailing. Michelle grabbed her car keys. I'm going too. Joseph, stay with Miss Evelyn. No, I said firmly. I'm coming. Those are my babies. Miss Evelyn, it's not safe. I said I'm coming! Michelle saw something in my face that made her nod. Get in. We broke every speed limit getting to Shanice's house. By the time we arrived, it was chaos. Police cars everywhere, neighbors standing on their lawns, and in the middle of it all, a large man in handcuffs being shoved into a squad car, screaming obscenities. I didn't recognize him, but Raymond did. That's Marcus. Raymond caught himself. That's Dwayne Fletcher, Cordell's cousin. They ran scams together in Memphis. Shanice was sitting on her front steps, shaking, a blanket around her shoulders. Her front door was hanging off its hinges, windows broken. It looked like a war zone. "The children," I said, running toward the house as fast as my old legs would carry me. "Where are my grandchildren?" "Grandma!" Amara burst out of a police car and ran to me, Isaiah and Zion right behind her. They crashed into me so hard I almost fell over, but I didn't care. I held them tight, all three of them, feeling their tears soak through my shirt. "It's okay, babies. It's okay. Grandma's here. Grandma's got you." "He was so scary," Zion sobbed. "He kept yelling and hitting the door and—" "Shh, baby. He can't hurt you now. He's going to jail." Shanice walked over slowly, her face a mess of tears and shame. "Mama, I'm so sorry. I didn't know Cordell had a cousin. I didn't know any of this. He came here saying we owed him $50,000, that Cordell promised him a cut when we sold your house, and when I said there was no house, he lost it." I looked at my daughter. Really looked at her. She was thin, I realized. Too thin. Dark circles under her eyes. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. "How long has this been going on?" I asked quietly. "The truth, Shanice. All of it." She collapsed onto the steps, her whole body folding in on itself. 2 years. Ever since Cordell came into my life, everything's been falling apart. At first it was little things, borrowing money, missing payments. But he always had an explanation, always had a plan to fix it. And I believed him because... She looked up at me with broken eyes. "Because I was lonely, Mama. After Dante left, I was so lonely. And Cordell made me feel special, made me feel like we could have everything we wanted if you just betrayed your mother," I finished. She nodded, crying harder. "I hate myself. I hate what I did to you, what I said to you. How I let him poison me against you. You're my mama. You're the only person who's ever really loved me, and I threw you away like garbage." The children were watching us, listening to every word. "Shanice," I said slowly, "you made terrible choices. You hurt me deeper than anyone ever has. But you're still my daughter, and these babies still need their mother. I don't deserve them. I don't deserve any of you." "Maybe not," I agreed. "But they need you anyway. So you got 2 choices. You can sit here feeling sorry for yourself, or you can stand up and fight for your family. Which is it gonna be?" She looked at me, confused. "Fight how? I destroyed everything. We're gonna lose the new house. We got no money. Cordell's in jail. His cousin just attacked us. What's left to fight for?" "Everything," I said. "Your children, your freedom, your life. That's what's left. And I'm gonna help you. But only if you do exactly what I say. No questions, no arguments. Can you do that?" "Why would you help me after what I did?" "Because I'm your mother," I said simply. And that's what mothers do. The arraignment 3 days later was packed. News cameras everywhere, reporters shouting questions. The whole thing had blown up bigger than any of us expected. Elderly black woman targeted by serial con man. Family betrayal. Daughter helps husband steal mother's home. Local hero exposes elder abuse ring. I sat in the front row with my grandchildren on one side and Gloria on the other. Shanice sat behind me with her court-appointed attorney. Michelle sat at the prosecutor's table as a special consultant. When they brought Cordell out in his orange jumpsuit, I barely recognized him. The smooth, arrogant man from my birthday party was gone. In his place was someone small and angry and scared. His eyes found mine in the courtroom. The hate in them was pure. The judge, a no-nonsense black woman named Honor Valerie Thompson, read the charges: fraud, elder abuse, identity theft, theft by deception, assault, terroristic threats. The list went on and on. Mr. Watkins, also known as Cordell Wallace, also known by 3 other aliases, Judge Thompson said, looking at him over her glasses. You've been busy. Your Honor, my client maintains his innocence, his public defender started. His innocence? Judge Thompson interrupted. Counselor, I've reviewed the evidence. 6 months of recorded conversations, forged documents, testimony from multiple victims across 3 states. A detailed plan to defraud at least 4 other elderly women in this community. What part of that sounds innocent to you? The lawyer sat down. Miss Johnson, the judge said, looking at me, would you like to address the court? Michelle had prepared me for this moment, but my hands still shook as I stood up. Your Honor, my name is Evelyn Marie Johnson. I'm 68 years old. I worked as a nursing assistant for 47 years. My husband and I saved every penny to build a life for our family. We weren't rich, but we had enough. We had love. We had dignity. We had peace. I looked directly at Cordell. This man tried to take all of that from me. He poisoned my tea so I'd seem confused. He forged my signature on legal documents. He turned my own daughter against me. He made my grandchildren watch as he disowned me on my birthday. He tried to steal my house, my money, my entire life. And when I fought back, he sent his cousin to terrorize my family. My voice got stronger. But what he didn't know, what he couldn't know, was that I've been fighting my whole life. I fought segregation, I fought poverty. I fought to keep my family fed and clothed and educated. I fought when my husband died and left me alone. I've been fighting since before Cordell Watkins was even born. And I'm still here, still standing, still fighting. The courtroom was silent. He thought I was weak because I'm old. He thought I was stupid because I only got a high school education. He thought I was helpless because I worked a simple job. But I'll tell you what my simple job taught me. I learned people. I learned who to trust and who to watch. And I learned that when you help people at their lowest, when you hold their hand while they're scared in a hospital bed, they don't forget. They become family. I gestured to Michelle. I saved Attorney Reeves's mother's life 30 years ago, stayed with her all night when she was dying, held her hand, prayed with her until she stabilized. I pointed to Raymond. I babysat Detective Cooper when his mama had to work double shifts. Made sure he did his homework and got to school on time. I nodded at Joseph. I helped Mr. Winter's grandmother recover after her stroke, taught her how to walk again, how to feed herself, gave her dignity when she had none left. Tears were streaming down my face now. That's what Cordell didn't understand. You can't steal 47 years of love. You can't forge relationships. You can't con your way into the kind of family that shows up when you need them. My husband used to say, "Baby, we might not have much money, but we rich in what matters." And he was right. I turned to Judge Thompson. I want Cordell Watkins locked up for as long as the law allows, not for revenge, but so he can't do this to anyone else's family, so no other grandmother has to hear her own daughter say she's not family anymore, so no other children have to watch their world fall apart. I sat down. Gloria grabbed my hand and squeezed. Judge Thompson was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "Mr. Watkins, I've been on this bench for 18 years. I've seen a lot of evil, a lot of cruelty. But there's something particularly vile about what you did. You didn't just steal money. You weaponized love. You turned a daughter against her mother. You made children doubt their grandmother. You perverted the sacred bond of family for profit." She leaned forward. "The maximum sentence for your combined charges is 45 years. Given your age and prior record, that essentially means life in prison. Do you have anything to say?" Cordell stood up, his chains rattling. For a second, I thought he might apologize, might show some remorse. Instead, he laughed. "She's not innocent. She turned my wife against me. She ruined my life. Everything I did, she deserved." "Sit down!" Judge Thompson's voice cracked like thunder. "You will not speak about Miss Johnson in my courtroom. You will not justify your crimes. You will sit there and accept your fate. She hammered her gavel. 45 years in state prison. No parole eligibility for 30 years. And I'm recommending you serve every single day. We're done here. As they led Cordell away, he screamed at me. This isn't over, you hear me, old woman? This isn't over! But it was. It really was. Shanice's case was different. The prosecutor, looking at the evidence that showed how Cordell manipulated her, how he isolated her, how he controlled her, offered a plea deal. 5 years probation, community service, mandatory counseling, and full restitution of the $87,000. I'll never be able to pay that back, Shanice said in the courthouse hallway after her hearing. Not in my lifetime. You'll pay what you can, I said, and the rest, we'll figure it out. She looked at me like I'd grown a second head. Mama, why are you being nice to me? I tried to steal your house. I helped him drug you. I turned my children against you. Why aren't you pressing charges? Why aren't you leaving me to rot? Because I remember who you were before him, I said. I remember my little girl who used to bring me dandelions she thought were flowers, who used to dance in the kitchen while I cooked, who promised to love me forever. I cupped her face in my hands. That girl is still in there somewhere, and I'm not giving up on her. I don't deserve this. Love ain't about deserving, baby. It's about choosing. And I choose you. But you got to choose better, too. For yourself. For your children. You understand? She nodded, crying. I'm gonna make this right, Mama. I swear. However long it takes. I know you will. 3 months later, things had settled into a new normal. Shanice and the kids moved in with me temporarily while she got back on her feet. The new house they bought went into foreclosure, but with Michelle's help, Shanice got out of the contract without too much damage. Cordell's cousin Dwayne got 15 years for assault and attempted extortion. Cordell's other potential victims were warned and protected. The story made national news, and I even got invited to speak at a conference about elder abuse. You're famous, Grandma, Amara said one evening, showing me articles on her phone. I'm not famous, I corrected. I'm just an old woman who refused to be a victim. You're a hero, Isaiah said firmly. You saved us. You saved Mom. You saved a bunch of other people too. Nah, baby. I just did what needed doing, that's all. But they weren't wrong. The story had sparked something bigger. Churches started elder protection programs. Community centers offered financial literacy classes. People were talking about the silent epidemic of family financial abuse. And me? I was just happy to have my family back. Well, most of it. Shanice and I were still working through things. Trust doesn't rebuild overnight. But she was trying, really trying, going to therapy, working 2 jobs to start paying back what she stole, being present for her children, showing up. One night, about 4 months after the trial, I found her crying in the kitchen. Mama, how do you do it? She asked. How do you forgive? How do you move forward? Every time I look at you, I remember what I did, what I said, how I hurt you. I sat down beside her. You think I don't hurt? You think I don't remember my own daughter telling me I'm not family? That pain lives in my chest every single day. Then how? But so does the memory of you as a baby. You as a little girl. You as my daughter who I love more than my own life. Pain and love can exist together, baby. That's what being human means. And eventually, if we're lucky, love gets bigger than the pain. I want that, she whispered. I want love to be bigger. Then keep choosing love, I said. Every day, with every action. That's all any of us can do. She hugged me then, tight, like she used to when she was little. I love you, Mama. I love you too, baby girl. Always have. Always will. On my 69th birthday, exactly 1 year after Cordell ruined my party, I had another celebration. Same people, same house, different energy entirely. Gloria made her famous sweet potato pie. Pastor Williams led Grace. My church family filled every room with laughter and music and love. And this time, Shanice stood beside me as I blew out the candles, with my grandchildren cheering me on. "Make a wish, Grandma!" Zion shouted. I looked around at all the faces I loved, at the family and friends who showed up when I needed them, at the daughter who was finding her way back, at the grandchildren who made every sacrifice worth it. "I don't need to wish," I said. "I already got everything I need." Later that night, after everyone left and the house was quiet, I sat on my porch swing, the same swing Bernard and I used to sit on together, and looked up at the stars. "We did it, baby," I whispered to my husband. "We built something strong enough to survive. Something that couldn't be stolen or forged or conned away. We built love, real love, the kind that fights back." The wind rustled through my roses, and I swear I felt Bernard's presence, warm and proud. Cordell thought my hidden truth was just recordings and lawyers and money in a trust fund. But that wasn't it at all. My hidden truth was simpler and stronger than that. My hidden truth was that I refused to be broken, that I chose to fight, that I loved hard enough to forgive even when it hurt, that I survived by building a community that survived with me. My hidden truth was that after 69 years of life, after fighting more battles than I could count, I was still here, still standing, still loving, still winning. And that truth didn't just ruin Cordell. It saved my family. It saved me. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and feel free to share your story in the comments. Your voice matters.